And welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, June 22nd, 2015. I'm Lauren Fraser with the details. Signatures were today affixed to documents formalizing the Go Teacher program between the governments of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Ecuador, the SVG Community College, the University of the West Indies, and the Dominica State College. Speaking at the official signing ceremony at Cabinet Room, Director of the SVG-CC, Nigel Scott, says the college has always prided itself in partnerships that will lead to the betterment of the people of the region. Scott explains that his team at the SVG-CC was very thrilled when Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves informed them of the arrangement he had negotiated with Ecuador to allow Ecuadorian teachers to journey here to learn the English language.
As a member country in ALBA, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as member countries, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Ecuador are friends. And so we are pleased that the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College should be part of this partnership, to be part of this extension of friendship between our nations. We look forward to welcoming the teachers from Ecuador, and we look forward to partnering with our colleagues at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus and the Dominica State College. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College may be 4 divisions, but we are one college, and we are a college where our motto is nothing limits excellence. And so we look forward to this partnership and look forward to the continued fellowship and friendship with the government and people of Ecuador.
And Minister of Foreign Affairs Camilo Gonsalves says the agreement involving the Go Teacher program is over 1 year in the making, and says persons here can soon expect to see a new influx of persons from Ecuador in SVG.
The volume of teachers that Ecuador wishes to educate in its very ambitious program is more than we in St. Vincent or Dominica can reasonably accommodate. Not only in terms of residence facilities, but in terms of the very specific requirements they have for the student-teacher ratio, and the types of qualifications that they want their English teachers to have. We anticipate in the first instance that we should be getting over 40 of our brothers and sisters from Ecuador coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Others will go, because of our own limited capacity at this time, others will go to Dominica and the University of the West Indies, and we hope that those numbers will grow in coming years. But the people in and around the community college, landlords, supermarket owners, car rental agencies can all anticipate a new influx of our brothers and sisters, and we hope that they can be welcomed warmly.
Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Integration of the Republic of Ecuador, Leonardo Arzaga, describes the relationship between SVG and Ecuador as an excellent one, specifically as it relates to politics, cooperation, and also on a personal level.
The great empathy and the close relationship that exists between President Rafael Correa and Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves. Ralph is a leader of the Caribbean and of Latin America, highly respected, and for us this relationship that is becoming closer and that will benefit both countries is a result of that leadership from Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves and from our President. When we met in the first political consultation a year ago with Permanent Secretary Nathaniel Williams, we started talking about these different issues. The building of new bridges after the tragedy you had at the end of the year 2013, and also the willingness we had to work with St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other countries in the Caribbean in higher education, science and technology.
Arizaga says additionally an agreement has been reached with the government of SVG to have a small group of junior diplomats from Ecuador come here to further improve their English and professional skills through internship at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Arizaga stressed that education is an extremely high priority for the government of Ecuador.
It is an area where we've had a lot of success. Right now, we have 10,500 students from Ecuador getting their master's and PhD degrees, the highest per capita scholarships in Latin America. 10,500 masters and PhDs. We have 900 professors that we have hired from abroad that are teaching our students, the best professors in the world and researchers. In the last 2 years, 200,000 students have migrated from private schools to public schools. When public education becomes better than private education, you know that you're doing something right. And this is a result of the citizens' revolution that we're living in Ecuador. So when we received this instruction from our president to start working with Caribbean countries, specifically with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that is a leader in the region, we decided to do it as fast as possible.
Public servants here will over the next 3 days learn more about trade facilitation and market access issues at a workshop taking place at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs conference room. The workshop is being hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Commerce and Information Technology in collaboration with the World Trade Organization, the WTO, the Caribbean Community or CARICOM Office of Trade Negotiation, and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS Secretariat. The seminar will also help public servants gain skills in areas such as customs evaluation, transport licensing and tariff, among others. Vincent Atkins of the CARICOM Office of Trade Negotiation says he is pleased by the initiative undertaken by this government to host such a workshop, noting that the Caribbean countries heavily depend on trade to boost their respective economies.
Of course, trade negotiations, whether it is at the multilateral, the hemispheric, regional level, or in the context of bilateral trade arrangements, are very important to CARICOM, given the very open nature of our economies. We depend very heavily on trade, whether we speak of trade in goods or trade in services, such as tourism.
Representative of the WTO, Zioe Bing Tang, says his organization will continue to help those countries develop their training to access the benefits of the WTO.
As well as development issues. I think that after the summer break, this will even intensify the celebrations, the accelerations, so the negotiations and the preparations for the MC10 will be in the full speed. After having said this, I really hope that in the next 3 days we could work together, and which will let you have a better understanding and the preparations for your participation in the future WTO negotiations and WTO endeavors.
And Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Nathaniel Williams, says the private sector stands to benefit tremendously from a well-established trade sector. Williams highlighted that the information gained from the 3-day workshop will help to facilitate a vibrant economy where businesses have more opportunities to trade and negotiate.
Market access also speaks specifically to the terms and conditions that are negotiated to allow practitioners, private sector operators, not so much government. Government may negotiate, but it's the private sector that must translate the opportunities in that negotiations to the benefit of the country in which they represent or to which they represent. And so market access speaks to the conditions, the terms and conditions which are prearranged and which in a transparent manner allow practitioners in the private sector to trade, to produce and to trade and to have access to markets within the countries in which the agreement actually covers.
OECS Representative Cosbert Woods says building the capacity of public servants will ensure that the economy also grows. He also commends the government for having the vision to train public servants in these areas.
As such, the execution of the training over the course of the next 3 days must be conducted with a view to fostering a harmonized and coordinated approach amongst member states to deepening and strengthening the economic growth and development of the OECS Economic Union and the CARICOM single market and economy by extension. The OECS Commission would also like to commend the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for taking the initiative to convene such a timely activity in light of the recent occurrences in our regional and multilateral trading agenda. The recent accession of Martinique as an associate member to the OECS is a testament to the commitment of these small island states to strategically enhancing regional integration in the Caribbean, deepening its relation with France and the rest of the European Union.
Tomorrow, June 23, 2015, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will join the rest of the international community in celebrating Public Service Day, in keeping with the UN's theme, Innovating Public Service Delivery to Implement the Post-2015 Development Agenda. To commemorate this day, the Public Sector Reform Unit, the PSRU, in the Ministry of National Reconciliation, the Public Service, Labor Information and Ecclesiastical Affairs will be staging a week of activities from tomorrow to Friday, 26th June, as homage to the thousands of public servants of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The activities for Public Service Week 2015 include an address by the Minister of the Public Service, Maxwell Charles, and a church service at the New Testament Church at Wilson Hill tomorrow. There will also be the staging of a public service exhibition in Kingstown on Wednesday and a staff exchange across ministries and departments on Thursday. Public Servants Appreciation Day is Friday, June 6th. Courts earlier today launched their annual reading competition at the Windsor Primary School. The competition will kick off on June 29th and runs until July 1st with the preliminary rounds. The local finals is slated for September this year. General Manager of Courts St. Vincent, Michelle Samuel, took the opportunity to again congratulate the Windsor School for producing last year's winner, Rihanna Harry, and challenged the institution to do its best as this year's competition comes on stream. This year, the winner of the finals of the local leg of the competition will receive a monetary gift as well as a number of prizes from various sponsors of the competition, and would also represent SVG at the regional finals slated for Dominica. Harry put in an excellent performance at the regional finals last year, and she thanked Courts for the opportunity to represent her country overseas, and also thanked her teachers and mother for the support given to her throughout the competition. She also encouraged her fellow students to practice in order to sharpen their reading skills. This country is among 6 regional countries to host a series of training workshops in Post-Disaster Needs Assessment, or PDNA. This workshop seeks to train a number of persons in post-disaster needs assessment to build capacity at the national level in order to deliver future training and to improve readiness to conduct a post-disaster assessment following the impact of a hazard. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the first workshop at NEMO's conference room earlier today, United Nations or UN Resident Coordinator and the UNDP resident representative to Barbados and the OECS, Stephen O'Malley, says the participants at the 4-day workshop will learn how to properly evaluate what can be done to reduce the cost of disasters, as well as how to effectively manage disasters to prevent added costs.
Our reality is that even a well-done PDNA does not automatically release funds to address the damage. So we have to keep a strong focus as well on risk reduction. No matter how well a country is prepared and how good its policy framework is, shocks occur, often with inevitable and highly destructive consequences. The key objective then is to rebuild while increasing social, material, and institutional resilience. The resilience to a country includes its capacity to recover quickly and well from disasters. This entails managing the immediate effects of the disasters, as well as implementing specific measures to avoid further socioeconomic consequences.
O'Malley says the PDNA workshop represents a harmonized and contrived approach by providing comprehensive and government-led assessment of post-disaster damages, losses, impacts, and recovery needs for a consolidated recovery framework.
Hazard mapping and vulnerability assessments should be updated and applied to inform planning and impact assessments. All sectors need up-to-date disaster management plans, including addressing resilience to recurring events. These plans should also focus on mitigation and recovery. We need better management of the intersection of socioeconomic data and post-disaster assessments to better understand and address underlying vulnerabilities. Much of the vulnerability we see is cumulative. For example, if we cannot properly restore watersheds and rivers after earlier events or address other underlying factors, we increase the risk that hazard events turn into disasters.
The UNDP representative further states that the Latin American or Caribbean region is the second most affected by natural hazards, with an estimated cost of $34.3 billion in 2013, which is a quarter of the total global cost. He says while the region has improved in reducing hazard risk, the annual regular events or extensive risks faced cumulatively actually amount to the same.
And while we can't measure the cost of these big events, including effects on livelihood, while we can measure the cost of these big events, including effects on livelihoods, we aren't really able to assess the costs of the crucial development losses caused by these regular events. So, to facilitate this cost measurement, comprehensive assessments need to be carried out, ranging from the rapid assessment of immediate needs to more detailed assessments of longer-term recovery and risk reduction requirements. These assessments in the post-disaster period must be multi-sectoral, and that's why you're all here today, and must address recovery needs related to infrastructure, shelter, livelihoods, and social and community services in a balanced and comprehensive manner.
Director of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, Howie Prince, says stakeholders have to take this process seriously, adding that if a disaster strikes, it is important to be able to produce an analysis detailing the percentage of the population affected and their current needs, as well as how this amounts in loss to the country as a whole.
But the thing being, we really have to take the process seriously. What is this PDNA process? PDNA has its genesis really out of the need by countries around the world, not just St. Vincent and Grenadines in our region, but worldwide, for a methodology through which countries can quantitatively put together the analysis of what has happened in the aftermath of any impact of a hazard. Whether it's a disaster or not is neither here nor there. In most cases, it may be a disaster situation. In some cases, you're assessing the impact of a hazard. So if a hurricane strikes St. Vincent and Grenadines, or Barbados, or other places, there is need for us to be able to quantitatively figure out what exactly has happened.
The Forestry Department is continuing its appeal to livestock farmers of Fancy and surrounding areas regarding the destruction of the forest plantation within the area. The department in a media release states that continued increases in the amount of animals, mainly goats, that are left to run loose within the restricted forest boundaries for extended periods have been observed, and that these animals have been responsible for considerable damage to the trees which compromise the integrity of the forest and its environment. According to the department officers, a number of trees have been debarked and their rooting structures destroyed. There is a high degree of soil compaction and destruction of the lower canopy vegetation, including the regenerative young and developing forest trees. The department says it is also concerned that as one of the major watershed areas, this activity can reduce the quality of water collected at the main water catchment at Fancy, and that this activity has to come to an end immediately. The Forestry Department department says it is making a final appeal to farmers to have these animals removed by the end of this month, 2015. Failure to do so can result in action being taken, which includes impounding of the animals until the associated fees are paid. A jail term of 2 years and 9 months was this morning handed down to Andrew Harry, a laborer of Chateaubelair, after he was convicted on 3 separate charges of escaping lawful custody and assaults. Reports are that on March 26, 2015, on 2 different occasions, Harry took a knife and placed it to the neck of his then common-law wife, Sinisa Ginger Slater of Clear Valley. The court also heard that while in custody at the Central Police Station, Harry made his escape after he told police that he wanted to use the washroom. He was convicted for wounding Slater and assaulting a police officer who went to her rescue. In other court news, Curtel Lavia, a resident of Petit Bodel, has been arrested and charged for 3 separate charges of robbery, unlawful and malicious wounding, and using a firearm to endanger life on June 15th this year. Reports are that on the date in question, Aquino Edwards was on his way from the Petit Bodel beach when he received a gunshot wound to his left leg. It was during such time Lavia approached him and deprived him of 3,500 EC dollars. Lavia appeared before Chief Magistrate and Brown Matthias this morning and was not allowed to plead to the indictable charges. Police prosecutor Adolphus Delpesh had no objection to his bail, which was allowed in the sum of $10,000 with 1 surety. He was also ordered to surrender all travel documents to the court and to report to the Chateaubelair police station on Mondays and Thursdays between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. September 25th, 2015 is the date set for the preliminary inquiry. Carnival Beat is coming right up. Errol Demand Age Rose and Kenroy Jackie Jack of the Dynamite Calypso tent out of New York have withdrawn from the semifinals of the National Calypso competition. The 20 semifinalists were announced last Friday by the Carnival Development Corporation, the CDC. A media release issued by the CDC today on the withdrawal of the 2 Calypsonians from the semis scheduled for this Friday, June 26th, has to do with work-related reasons. They would be replaced by the 2 reserves, Elvis Abijah Abbey from the On-Tour Calypso tent and St. Clair Mitch Lavia from the Graduates Calypso tent. The 2 reserves would now be Cecile Littlebit King and Alvin Zionai Denny. One mass man here has issued a call for an improvement in the standard of mass coming from the various mass bands. Tent manager of the SVG Players International, Ricardo Puzzle Grant, says such an improvement is necessary in order to better preserve this country's cultural heritage. In wishing all a peaceful and happy Carnival 2015, Grant says, as a mass man for many years, it is his hope that Carnival will go back to where it once was, where careful and artistic work made up an integral part of mass designs and construction.
I mean, it's just my hope, because people seem to be moving further away from the actual costume building and now getting into just the bra and beads and the feathers. And I kind of really feeling tired about that, because me, when I got into Carnival, Carnival was an industry. You know, the various people, the tailors, the seamstress, the carpenters, the shoemakers could make a little something from Carnival. Now it's no longer like that. It is no longer like that. And I hope to see the day when we stop being so foreign oriented and see ourselves coming back into our own cultural heritage.